And so because he couldn't wait on God's timing, it caused him a lot of problems. So he didn't have the patience, he didn't have the fortitude of waiting on God. So this is Vertical Stream 101, and this is your host Leanto Muhammad. So we back again, and if you've been watching us for a little past while, we continue into the test of God. And so today what we're going to be doing, we'll be talking about the time test. Yes, the time test. How God demonstrates time tests in our lives. And so one of the things that the time test does, it forces us to trust God dearly. And what it does, it dries up or it tries our patience that God is doing this thing in his own timing and his own will. And so this test gives an opportunity to leaders or person to grow in faith. Each leaders must be able to help to lead people into believing God. And so if they are not believing themselves, or they don't have the kind of patience what God wants for them, they can't really lead people. And so what God does in the time test is to strengthen the leader, so that strengthen his faith, that when people saw him, when people of his congregation or people in his community saw that he's believing in God and waiting faithfully for God, they take notice, and so they would even generate faith themselves. Because if the leader do not have no faith or no courage in God, the people would not even have faith too. So that's why God mostly tests leaders with the time test, that they can generate a set of faith and confidence in God, that people can see and look up to him. So one of the things that the time test does, what it does is that it purifies a leader in the long time of he waiting on God. It purifies his motive, it purifies his attitude, his judgment, his cloud judgment is being clear. All the blockage have been cleared out, and so God purifies a leader in this time. You see, God wants transparency from all leaders. So the time test does, it clear out all the blockage from his mind, his attitude, his heart. And so what God does at this time is to purge him from every selfish motive, every selfish thing that is blocked inside him, every attitude, every motive that is wrong before God. God cleanse it out during the time of waiting and patient God does to him. And so this period in the time test, what God does, God show himself as a great miraculous working God, as a powerful God, that he is God, to show leaders that who he called, he provides for. Who he called, he does things for them. And so many times leaders think because of their passion and their zeal and the excellence of skill will help them to fulfill what God called them for. But in this time, God shows them that, hey, he is a miracle working God. And through his miracle will bless the people, will bless the church, and will bless the leaders. You see, God leaders must cooperate with the plan of God. You see, God delights in the weakness of men. Why? That he can show his glory, his power in the time of weakness. So when you are weak, he is strong. So during the time test, when man plans, all the man plans have failed, God show up with a miraculous sign, miraculous working, miraculous power. To what? That he can get the glory. And a man, man do it in his own strength and say, hey, I do it. No. When you fail, God show up on miracles and say, hey, it's only I am God can be able to do this thing. And so God begins to get the glory. And so as God demonstrates his miracle, he shows his faithfulness to his leaders and to his people. So we see the patriarchal Abraham. We see at the age 75, now God is calling him when he is almost old. God is saying, hey, move from your hometown, which is Haran, and move to the land which I will show you. This is Canaan. He is 75 years old, and now God begins to work. Now in this period, Abraham is saying, hey, I'm not getting a son. Look, I'm not getting kids. I'm going to take my servant, who's Eliezer, to be the head of my home. All right? Because he's not having an heir. And so God is testing him in this period of time. And so God promised Abraham a son, not a servant to be his heir, but he promised him a son. And so Abraham did not wait on God's time test to fulfill for God fulfilling it. So he went about and doing his own thing. Today, if we look at history, we can see the cause of Abraham's problem. So God had to go into his heart and say, hey, look, your motive, your attitude is not really right. And so God had said, hey, your patient wasn't, your patient wasn't there. And so God had to teach him a lesson. And so at the age 100, God gave him a rightful son from his rightful wife. So the time when he was impatient, he caused a lot of problem, a lot of heartache in the family. Now Abraham waited 25 years for God's word for his own son. And so many leaders or money persons, 3 years they wait, 4 years they wait, and they're like, oh, God is not showing up or God is not doing anything. And so they backslide, they leave God. They don't have any patience. They don't know how to wait on God. And so everybody wants it like a microwave. It's a microwave generation. Press quick and you want it right away. But with God, there's a time and there's a process, there's a patience with God. And so Abraham had to wait 25 years. Right? And so like many leaders, they want it right now, they want it today, they want it now, 1 year, 2 year, they want to see, they want to see everything happen. But with God time, there is a process and there is a time. We must, in the time test, we must submit to God timing, submit to God purification, and submit to God patience. And so in the process of waiting on God, just be focused, hold on God and wait. And so this is the end of this program for the God time test. And so in the other session, we're going to continue. So just press like, continue, subscribe, and share to your friend. If this is something that you like, keep, and we're going to continue next week for our next test of God. So bye bye, see you in the next program.